Tonight, consultations for the 2015 budget underway. RBF's analysis show a steady economic growth. And excitement building up for the start of Parliament proper. Good evening. The formulation of the 2015 national budget, including inputs from various stakeholders, got underway today. Serious discussions were held between government, businesses, the financial sector, civil society and employee groups, who all came together for the special budget forum held in Suva to have their say. Sofia Correitanoa reports.
With the 2015 national budget policies expected to be based on the current economic growth and the manifesto of Fiji First, these stakeholders had an opportunity to also have a say on what should be included in the national budget, which is expected to be announced next month. Returning from the UN General Assembly meeting in New York, Prime Minister urged the participants to work together in contributing to the best interest of all Fijians.
No matter who you are, where you come from, what industry or organization you represent, or who you voted for, you are all important to this government.
The Prime Minister also pointing out that in the coming months, a large part of government's focus will be on reforming, modernizing and restructuring the public sector.
Our civil service needs to keep up with the demands of a modern economy, not be a prisoner of a mindset that says this is the way it is done because this is the way it has always been done. We need to put the service back into the civil service. It needs to be more responsive to the public. The process of government needs to be more service-oriented and efficient, whether it is obtaining a fishing license or a duty concession.
Bainimarama also sharing some feedbacks he got from the world leaders during the 69th session of the United Nations General Assembly.
On my overseas trip, and especially in my meetings with world leaders at the United Nations, I found a huge level of enthusiasm about Fiji's future prospects. Having embraced a united future and buried the divisions of the past, the world is expecting us to take off.
The special budget forum was held at the Grand Pacific Hotel. Sofia Correitanoa, Fiji One News.
Fiji's economy has recorded a positive growth for the fourth consecutive year now. This has been the analysis from the Reserve Bank of Fiji Governor Barry Whiteside. Whiteside told stakeholders at the special budget forum that signs are strong for even more growth in future.
Presenting the latest report on how the economy is doing so far, the Reserve Bank of Fiji says the 3.8% growth forecast for this year looks good to be achieved. This is especially after general good performances across all sectors, increase in consumption spending and investment in the country. RBF also pointing out that the private sector continues to be the engine of growth for our economy.
In 2013, we have the financial services sector, transport, consumption, construction, manufacturing, information and communications contributing fairly heavily. On the other hand, you do see some poor performance in a couple of sectors, notably mining, fishing and stable position in health with no change. In 2014, again, construction will come to the fore, manufacturing, wholesale and retail, financial services and agriculture provide a lot of the impetus to that 3.8% that we're seeing there. Again, fish is showing negative position.
And after our return to parliamentary democracy, the RBF says there's more rooms for growth in the coming years.
I've not said improved, but I've said heightened confidence, because we expect confidence to actually start to really boom now. And this is because as well we will have re-engagement with multilateral and bilateral partners, re-engagement with the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, with Australia and New Zealand, will mean more inflows, more capital inflows into Fiji for large projects. There is potential for EU funding in the sugar industry, and again I mentioned ADB already, access to ADB concessional funding. We expect increased foreign direct investment.
However, RBF also urging these stakeholders to pay attention to some issues.
The issue with our balance of trade at the moment is that our imports are rising much faster than our exports. So that issue on hand is how we need to drive our exports to grow and match the pace of imports. Obviously, when the economy is growing strongly, we will be importing a lot of things, whether it be for investment purposes or consumption type of activity.
Sofia Kuroitano, Fiji One News.
And the special budget forum held today has been welcomed by the various stakeholders on the opportunity given to contribute to the formulation of the national budget. Various submissions have also been put forward for consideration.
Highlighted as one of the major growth contributors to our economy, infrastructure continues to be a priority for government investment. 2 years of reforms have been undertaken on our roads, and more focus is expected on our rural roads as part of improving access for investment.
It has been significant. You can see the outcome as it shows on the ground. We will continue to build on it. Continuity, as I said yesterday, is the buzzword here. Really is trying to take the services we deliver to a higher level. And that's what we are all determined to do, particularly for roads. Now, I also talked about how we can get better integration, creating some joint effects within the departments that share the same physical space, particularly water, energy, and road. And we want to make sure that we share costs.
The Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation is also hoping for a business-friendly budget.
The issues around mining. The industry has poured in terms of exploration about $50 million. There's still a lot of processes that they need to go through. There is an urgent need to revise the Mining Act to allow the miners in this country to be able to get into actually mining. The governor of the Reserve Bank stated correctly that there's huge potential to grow the GDP. So we will be talking about this particular area. The other area we'd like to address is the cost of doing business.
Raking in $1.3 billion revenue for last year, the tourism industry continues to be our golden goose. The Tourism Association hoping for an increased allocation for marketing Fiji abroad.
I think for a few years now they've been allocating $23.5 million for marketing. I think with a larger job at hand for the industry and for Fiji Airways as well, I think the marketing budget needs to be re-looked at. And because we are now trying to address many more markets, new markets, China, India, apart from our traditional markets of Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and the North America, I think we've got a larger job to do because we need to have a lot more visitors coming to Fiji. I think we can also look at what was mentioned in terms of the ancillary services for tourism, that we can get them to stay longer and also to spend more money.
Sofia Kuroitano, Fiji One News.
Fiji will witness a historic event on Monday as the first Parliament sitting will take place after 8 years. The sitting will also be streamed live for members of the public as part of transparency.
On Monday, our Parliament will sit for the first time in 8 years in the very spot where the tragic cycle of instability that has scarred our nation began back in May 1987. When we gather in the refurbished chamber across the road, it will be a hugely symbolic occasion.
Says this marks a new beginning for the country.
We intend, as we gather on Monday, to put a full stop to the years of wasted opportunity and embark on a new era in which, working together, we move our nation forward to fulfill its promise, to fulfill its destiny.
All roads leading to the government buildings will be closed on Monday for the first sitting of Fiji's Parliament. Members of the public have been advised that a number of security measures will be implemented as movements around the Parliament will be limited. The Southern Cross Road behind the Albert Park Pavilion will be closed from 7 a.m. Movements will also be restricted from the Masonic Hall entry along Gladstone Road as well. Only government or identified vehicles will have access. These same security measures will be implemented on Tuesday as well. Foreign embassies in the country are already looking forward to the opening of the new parliament on Monday. After providing the much-needed assistance, they believe the parliament has one of the best facilities in the region.
I'd very much echo what Andrew said about how wonderful the chamber looks. It's great that you're taking the opportunity, SG, to leapfrog some of the technologies. I'm sure there'll be many in the New Zealand Parliament who would be somewhat jealous of some of the technologies that are available here.
We've provided assistance to help with the infrastructure for the Parliament, and we've also provided assistance through our Australian Parliament and had a number of Australian parliamentarians, both state and federal, already here in Fiji to assist the Secretary-General and also participate next week in some programs next week.
The Japanese government is happy to see that our contribution is utilized for the capacity development and the technical support for this newly starting parliament. So hopefully that we can see the more, how should I say, lively and actively strong democratic movement in this chamber.
In the news ahead, ASCO technicians put their skills to the test. Welcome back. There's been more disappointment over the delay of payment for individuals who were hired by the Elections Office to officiate in polling stations during National Polling Day. In Korobotailevu, some are still awaiting payment. They say continuous checks with their banks in Korobot town have proved futile in the last few days.
And I came from the way from Singatoka to do my polling day work at Londoni Primary. And I'm still stuck at London Primary at the moment, waiting for our wages. We called last Tuesday, and they said before Friday they'll put our wages in the bank. And we're still checking our bank account. Nothing has been appeared in our bank account.
Earlier this week, the Supervisor of Elections, Mohammed Sanim, said the delay in payment was mainly due to missing details of polling day workers. Chemistry students from around 42 secondary schools in the country have been given an insight on what is expected from them if they are to pursue their further studies in the field. Under the Chemical Society of the South Pacific banner, students came together today to test out what they learned throughout the year. For those who are running this national competition, it's all about exposing these students to another level of the subject.
The main idea is not for them to pass or fail, it's not an examination. What we are trying to show them is the exposure they get while they are in school, that what the real chemistry will look like when they come for tertiary institution.
Students, this was a reality check on what lies ahead in their future.
Chemistry is not just basically answering questions and passing exams. They come in to see how they are applying the knowledge that they have learned in the classroom and how they are going to apply it to solve real life problems. So if we show them the exposure now, what it feels like and why they are studying, then I think by the time they graduate, after going through the tertiary institution, we'll have a very smart society.
The ASCO Motors National Skills Test is expected to bring out the best from their top 6 technicians in the country. After rounds of elimination that started last year, one of the finalists will represent Fiji and Australia next year.
The silence in this room says it all for these 6 ASCO Motors National Skills finalists. They literally put their skills to test.
How it helps our technicians, it gives them a very fair and structured platform where they can showcase their talents, they can showcase their skills and competencies.
For these technicians, they have done the hard yards throughout last year.
We do this basically for our staff to encourage them, to motivate them, and we look at this as a very good learning and development platform, and also a very good platform where our staff get recognized for their superior talents.
The winner from here will carry on the company's hope against the best in the region next year.
The plans for them is that the winners will then be going down to participate in the regional skills contest hosted in Brisbane early next year. And competing at that level, if they win out there, then they get a trip to go to Japan to participate in the Assembly of Champions.
Ndrewu Kelangi, Fiji News.